we've been leading people towards bad movies for a second. If you guys had to pick top 3 just horror, I mean, there's a bleed over between horror and thriller, so include that as well.
do The Thing, The Shining.
Top 3.
I'd probably do The Thing, The Shining, and probably The Conjuring. You know, and I picked those because they're enjoyable.
Those are solid picks.
They're classics. I like all the acting. I like the practical effects, and they're different kinds of horror. All 3 of them. They're all 3 different kinds of horror.
Could I like the Silence of the Lambs supplant one of those top 3?
I don't think it's scary. It's one of the very few horror movies that ever won the Oscar, because I think they may have called it a thriller, but I don't love it. I think Anthony Hopkins' really performance is a little, you know, if you were really there, you might be like, "Fuck you, dude. What are you gonna do?" Like loser.
Yeah. Well, I didn't like his like
yeah,
like that kind of shit. I didn't like that. That was kind of ridiculous. But
yeah,
Silence of the Lambs is great. The Thing, I'm 100% on board with you with. I was thinking The Shining before you said it, and so I guess I have to stay consistent to that. That's another solid one. But Silence of the Lambs, I guess I could plug that in to make it different. And then like, I want one that's truly terrifying for the third, because like the Thing isn't horrifying, but it's a really fucking good movie. Silence of the Lambs isn't going to terrify you, but it does that unsettling vibe so incredibly. Zach says Saw 1 and 2. Disagree on 2. Saw 1 is an excellent movie.
I thought the Babadook was very, very scary to me. Other people have told me it didn't scare them.
I didn't like that one really.
It's all
kid annoyed the shit out of me.
Yes. Why can't you just be normal? Yes. Fucking crazy.
The poor mom. That whole time I'm like, this poor mom. Like,
yeah, that's what the movie's about.
Give her some help.
You know, I The Descent scared the shit out of me when I first saw it in theaters, about the 4 lady spelunkers who run into the creatures down in the cave they're trapped in. That was really scary at the time. Paranormal Activity 1, the first one.
That's
when he goes up. There's a part where he goes up into the attic to see what the noise is, and his like half of his body is in the attic and half of it's not, and you don't know whether to be afraid for him because maybe something up there is going to grab him, or afraid for her because now she doesn't have him there to protect her. She's kind of down the hall and halfway in a bedroom looking down the hall at him, halfway up the ladder. And he finds that picture of her, but it's a picture of her when she was a little girl that's burned, and it's burned because it was destroyed in her childhood home. And they're like 25 years old in another state now. And it's like, dude, that's so upsetting to find up there. And like, sort of, because they take the time to pour over it too. She's like, that can't exist. And he's like, it does exist. I'm holding it. She's like, it's impossible. And it's like that you start realizing that something awful is happening. And then one more scene in that, it's awful. They put awful scary. They put baby powder on the floor because something's walking around at night, and there's goat prints in the fucking powder, like hoof demons.
Supernatural's, I have my 3. Supernatural's a great pick, and I like it for the same reason I like my middle one. My first is Jaws. Jaws is one of the scariest movies ever made. Generations of people are scared of sharks that otherwise wouldn't be. People are scared of sharks in a way that they don't talk about bears. Bears are probably far more dangerous and kill far more people. But I've scared away a bear. I wouldn't try that shit with a shark. I would not start splashing and yelling at a shark. I told the bear he was bad, and it looked like I hurt his feelings. So all right, Jaws, super scary.
That's good.
Got people. All right, next one. You guys won't agree, but Blair Witch Project. It was scary to me, but I really appreciate it because it was something I hadn't seen before. Horror movies especially fall into this formulaic thing of people making terrible decisions. Blair Witch Project was something different, and I like that about it. And the last one, also a little bit different, is 28 Days Later. I've seen so many zombie movies where I think I could be the hero of this universe. 28 Days Later, I would die. I'm not as fast as that guy at the start. No, I wouldn't have lasted 90 seconds in that.
That got
movie.
so quick.
He was running flat out. It for like, longer than I can.
Do you think, I could start at a full sprint and you'd catch me.
I want to tweet at him and be like, hey, in that first scene, did you train? Like, did you get a running coach? Because you are running so fast and so clean. And dude, he's hauling so much, and it's
I'd be leaning more and more forward until I do a
and it's
Put
not
your head
just
on the
like
gate, knock yourself out dead.
and him running well is not just a random occurrence in the movie. It has a lot of weight to it because you see him do that, and unless you yourself are like a collegiate level runner, you're thinking, I can't run that fast. But he is so close to being eaten. You know that if you're not as fast as him, then you're eaten. So you're looking at that and you're saying, I can't survive. I'd have died.
There's this moment where he's there with his wife and kid. His kid's on the wrong side of the room, and he knows there's no saving that kid. It's impossible. The wife knows it's a long shot, knows that it can't happen, but feels compelled to sort of be in this suicide pact with a kid that's about to get destroyed. And husband is like, this isn't a suicide pact. This is a marriage. Gotta go. And sure enough, he sees her on the window, right? Is the opening scene. And it's like, yeah, she gets pulled off and she dies. Of course she did. There was no way he could survive. Mm-hmm. I asked, like, if your kid is drowning in lava, molten lava, are you obligated to jump in and try and save him?
Nah.
No, they're already dead. Yeah.
Right?
I'll probably poke him with a stick, help him down.
That's the situation that these people are in. And mom decides, yeah, if a kid's drowning in molten lava, you jump in there and do your best, even though obviously how it's going to work out. So anyway, 28 days later, created an environment that I thought was unsurvivable, and that got me. Blair Witch was new, and Jaws, I don't know. It must be 40 years later. I'm still scared of sharks.
No,
Jaws is an excellent pick. I wouldn't have thought of that one.
It's funny you say that. I watched Jaws last week or something like that. And it's, I know every beat of that movie. I've probably seen it 20 times, but it is scary. And there's several scenes. What scares me is when it's when the little Boy Scout falls out of his boat, or maybe he's doing a swim or something, and like a kayaker's trying to help him, like, hey kid, give me your hand. And the shark swims under them maybe. And you sort of see the shark is so enormous, and you see the white belly of it like passing underneath. That's so scary. That's
the score is so good on that movie.
Yeah. Roy Schneider does a great performance, and it's just shot really well to make you feel all that anxiety. I agree with you on Blair Witch, though. I remember watching that.
I thought
it came out in '99, maybe. I remember I rented it on like pay-per-view, and we watched it at my house at night. And I remember getting nauseous, like sick to my stomach, not from the camera movement, because there was a lot, but just from the fear, just being so scared that I was like grossed out because they found one of their friends goes missing in the night, and they find like a little bundle, like a little dirty bag with his teeth in it. It's like his molars and his hair and like maybe a little doll made out of twigs. And they and that's fucking scary. And then the campaign for that movie was unlike anything they ever did. They presented it as found footage. It was one of the first found footage movies. It was definitely the one to take advantage of it fully. And so people believed that those actors were missing persons. They were calling their families and saying, I'm so sorry to hear about Megan, and Paul.
I think they weren't allowed to go on like promotional interviews and stuff to try and further that.
There's a website too. So it was the early day of absolutely right, Taylor. And they also had a website where you could go and like, it's like a missing persons website. Like, hey, there's this you could sort of take part in the mystery, and they gave no hint that any of it was fake. So lots of people thought it was real. That
I'm psyched you guys like my picks. I never do well in these. I think Pinocchio was scary.
Dude, Pinocchio, when they go to that island and they start turning people into donkeys, that 5-year-old me was horrified of that.
You ever hear Alex Jones talk about that?
What did he say?
Let's look at Pinocchio. What were they trying to say, Joe? You're telling me there's an island where they kidnap little boys? They take them there. They transform them for immoral purposes. You think it's just a cartoon, Joe? They a fable? Nah. I don't think so. No.
You're doing so well at this.
This is reminiscent of the evil that we have to live with. Hillary Clinton was on the Donkey Island. We know this. Drinks the blood of infants and children, Joe.
That's interesting. How's your job as the press secretary going?
Horrible. I'm roundly hated.
I'm in a lot of trouble.
Everyone says, stop yelling. The mic is good enough to pick up what you're saying.
Well, he has a suit on, but no sleeves. Like he's like sleeveless.
Joe, I gotta tell you, there's a lot more gay guys in this business than I thought there were. A lot
queers in this press room. I'm gonna tell you that.
I like. I need to rewatch Blair Witch because it's been 15 years.
I don't know if it stands up to the rewatch,
and so I would need to check it out again. But Jaws, I saw that when I was like 6 or 7, and it horrified me. I was terrified of sharks for years. I grew up in Missouri. Like there's nowhere
that hit home.
there's no risk.
There's no safer state.
There's a meme that goes around where it's like it shows shark attacks by state, and it's obviously all coastal states, but Missouri will have like 1 or 2 because of bull sharks that like eat some retard in the Mississippi River.
Really?
And so
you can swim in the Mississippi. People do.
Dumb people do. Like it's disgusting.
How do bull sharks get? There's no way they get all the way up to Mississippi.
It's so not that it's like
well, it's brown. I've seen
super brown, and really the thing is it moves so quickly. Anytime it rains, like it's a suicide mission to go in there. Like you shouldn't, unless you're if you're a Woody tier swimmer, you can handle it. But
ex-Woody, Prime Woody would have a joy in the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
but yeah, I look at that. I don't know how boats go upstream. Like
slowly. Yes.
Like I'm like, this is economically viable to push 35 barges upstream at the same time. You guys know better than me.
Yeah,
I saw in Australia on the coast. I guess they had these stink balls. Nobody knew what they were. These big disgusting balls of goo were washing ashore. And they said they smelled indescribably bad.
Ambergris.
They said that it smelled indescribably bad, not good. They said it was the worst smell you'd ever smelled, and people were afraid to touch them. And there was a lot of them, I guess. So they sent them off and they tested them. It was this weird, polluted concoction of like soap solids, human feces, methamphetamines, animal tranquilizers, hair.
Good God.
I swear to God, there was a list of the worst things you can imagine.
Who was making this? Was it India? Did India do it?
Where did you say it was?
We call it potpourri.
Where did you say it was?
I believe it was in Australia. They were washing up on the coast. I'm guessing it's pollution, being washed out to shore from, I guess, from anywhere. It could even be some fucking Chinese pollution. Those nasty ducks.
It could be anywhere.
Dude,
I don't know who the polluters are. We're all polluters. I mean, we as Americans are the number 1 polluters per capita.
America has gotten so much better in my lifetime. Like people used to throw the food out there, like the fast food wrappers and stuff out the window. Like, I don't know. Nature was just your dumpster, man. Like not everyone did it, and I didn't, but I probably like 1 in 5 times you did. Dude, in the 70s, this wasn't weird.
Yeah.
Like the whole side of the road was 70s, all
right?
broken. Yeah, right. And I was a surfer in my young days, right? So this is like the 80s. Beaches always shut down for bacterial infections. I read and agreed that the disposable plastic tampon insertion device was the New Jersey seashell. Just up and down the beach. When it rained, the sewage was just, there's big pipes, too big for any of us to hug, that just take the sewage and put it in the ocean. And when it rains, you just see it dumping out. And here I am bobbing on my surfboard. Like, it's kind of stinky today out here, don't you think?
Kind of stinky out here.
I had like so stains on my wetsuit from, I don't know, the kind of globules that Kyle described. Like they'd get in the wax on my surfboard, and then you'd lay down to paddle, and then I just had everyone had spotted wetsuits. That was normal. That's not normal anymore.
So
I'm so glad that's a societal change we've made about litter.
I have a millionth the beach experience that you have, but I remember I went to Jekyll Island and we went out into that water, and it's really brown already. I think it's ugly water, but there were massive forest fires that year in Florida, and the smoke carried up and turned the water into like the murkiest, like dirt, like bath water, like when bath water is completely soapied up and you can't see into it at all. It's so opaque. That's what the ocean was like. And me and my buddy started wading out into the ocean, and it's really flat there. I don't know where it drops off. Thankfully, we never found. We were so far from the shore, we could barely see it up to like, I don't know, nipples. and we
Mhm.
were looking for those conch shells. I remember like we'd step on one and then you'd go down and pick it up, and we had like a double armful each of conch shells we'd found. But we were both of our feet were bleeding pretty bad from stepping on the conch shells because they're pokey. And I remember telling him, like, this can't be a good idea.
This was the ocean, not the bay?
Yeah, this is the ocean.
Okay.
We're on Jekyll Island, so we're like, in the ocean.
I don't know Jekyll Island. Okay.
It's an island off the coast of Georgia. It's where all the elites went to go plot against Donald Trump that time.
I remember that. Yeah.